And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this Tuesday, November 11th, 1:07 in the afternoon. Boy, it doesn't feel like early to mid-November. It is a warm one out there with temperatures in the low 50s, although it is on the breezy side. But well, anytime you get unseasonably warm weather this time of the year, you're normally going to get the winds with it. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our Ag Director Bridgette Readel, who came in here flying in here.
Well, I mean, it was windy literally out, but still.
She had a tailwind.
Yeah. I just got done. I was speaking at the Kiwanis Club over at the Avalon, and I said, okay, guys, I got to stop in order to get to the studio on time. One more question. So we got them. We just did a Q&A, and it was excellent. So thank you very much.
Any one question that stood out?
Oh, no, they had them all over the board. Why am I paying $7 a pound on hamburger right now? Why is pork so much cheaper? What happened to the sugar beet payment? Who's buying land? Has land stabilized? Just lots of great questions.
Okay.
So it was excellent. And then, of course, we were quick to distinguish the different types of AI.
So, okay, let's follow up because I've had a lot of people ask too, is why are we paying $7 a pound for ground beef?
Okay, so we only have a limited amount of animals in the U.S. We are at our lowest herd numbers ever. Right now, you want to go buy a critter and start raising them up to produce. What 5 years ago would probably cost you $1,800 a head. Right now is $4,000. So your replacement cost, number one, is high.
Okay.
Feed costs certainly have gone up some as well. If you look at the overall inflation of what has happened since like 1980, beef has gone up roughly 300%, but everything else, let's think about fuel, coffee, we're talking in the 1,500s, 3,000% range. I mean, it's an astronomical amount. So maybe we're right priced for beef. But, I mean, so you got to think about that. Maybe this is what beef prices could be. Beef producers are having an opportunity now to make money where for a lot of years you didn't. This is a little bit of a change.
So do any of it have to do with the tariffs? Do we need to import more?
You can, where are you going to get it? Everybody's down globally for beef.
Okay.
This whole thing about, well, we quadrupled how much beef we're getting from Argentina. That brings us 2% of our needs. That's it.
Okay.
You can't just say, I'm going to produce more beef, because it takes you 18 to 24 months to get an animal that's reproductively ready or to bring a calf. I mean, it takes time. Okay. And we have slaughtered because we have increasing demand. Carnivore diet, GLP-1s are really driving that.
So those days of $1.99 a pound, they're gone.
They may, everything is cyclical.
Right.
So the chances that, and every time Trump tweets, the cycles, are down and raised back up. So I would say that it's too soon to tell. Okay. The cyclical pricing that we have on any inputs, those troughs used to be fairly well spread out. Any ag economist will tell you that all that's compressing, and the lows are lower, the highs are higher, if that makes any sense.
Okay. That does sum it up, quite well.
That's a bunch of it.
Yeah.
I, too, would love to pay $2 a pound for burger. But even if I'm going to go buy, which I'm going to actually buy tomorrow, if I'm going to go buy from somebody, it's not fair for me to say, gosh, I want to negotiate that down. They have costs into that animal too.
Right.
And processing costs. And remember, a lot of this has changed post-pandemic. Mm-hmm. So there's quite a few things.
No doubt. And speaking of cyclical, the LRC cycle, we are still awaiting and anxiously awaiting the set of the first cycle. And we are starting to see signs that may occur here over the next couple of weeks. It's a little longer cycle this year than it has been the previous 2 years. But one of the things that is starting to unfold, and this is going to be concerning for next spring for our ag community, is we're starting to see signs
Don't you say it.
Of possible drought conditions.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me it's going to rain again.
No.
Of
possible drought conditions setting up for next spring already from the valley.
Hold on.
Hold on. From the valley east into Lakes Country, and then especially what it's really targeting, we're getting strong signals, is South Dakota. Much of the state of South Dakota could be experiencing drought conditions next spring. That's the first signal we're getting from the LRC. That's not a guarantee, but that's one of the first signals that we're now just starting to see.
How long is spring going to last? Like you're talking June 1st? Potentially?
Yeah. Start us probably through the entire spring, it looks like.
Good.
Now, and typically, a lot of times, unfortunately, that bleeds over into summer too. So
okay, maybe, but Mother Nature has righted it every year where she
Seems
starts
like it.
raining in June and
Yep.
at
then
least-
it doesn't stop.
yeah, if we got a crop in the ground and then we get wet conditions in June and July and then we have a flash
It's all
drought in
timely.
August and September.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's all timely.
So frankly, I have a lot of producers right now that'll say, yeah, fine, freeze now. We don't have to get that much snowfall or rainfall until after the crop's in the ground.
Right.
So yeah, there's great potential that we'd be all right.
Okay.
So you say drought, I'm like, bring it.
Possible. That's
Yeah,
just
possible.
one first signal we're getting on that now. But again, we'll see how this first cycle, because remember how wet it was at the start of the cycle here, stretching from central and western parts of our state down through South Dakota, western South Dakota. So we'll see. We'll see how exactly that unfolds. But we're this week is just, I'll tell you what, it is gorgeous weather this week, and we're going to continue with the nice weather all the way through the rest of the week. We're looking at temperatures today in the low to mid 50s. We're already in the low 50s, so there will be some areas that top out 54, 55 with plenty of sunshine. Clear skies tonight. That's important because we have a very good chance of seeing the northern lights tonight. The last go around, we had cloudy skies, but we've got another solar flare that's expected to produce the northern lights in our area tonight, and we'll have clear skies, so that's good news there. Just get outside of city lights, obviously. And we'll drop down to about 30 tonight with west winds at 5 to 15. Then Wednesday and Thursday, quiet weather. Not much wind as today, but still a little breezy out of the northwest on Wednesday, turning to the south on Thursday. Highs both days in the low 50s, and then Saturday is going to be a windy and warm one with highs 60 to 62 on Saturday. That's Friday. Sorry, Friday. Saturday, we will see a cold front swing through the area, and a lot of question marks on how much we cool down. Our European model is bringing 30s back into the area, while our American model is keeping us well into the 40s to near 50. So if you're tailgating for the Bison game on Saturday, should have pretty decent weather. It should be dry. There's a slight chance of an isolated light shower or sprinkle as a cold front approaches the area. And then cooler weather settles in for Sunday into next week. Next week looks different. Next week looks like a return to normal to maybe slightly below normal temperatures, opposed to the 10 to 20 degrees above normal that we've got this week. Just unseasonably warm weather, not record-setting, but we won't be far away from it as we head into Friday. Records on Friday are in the mid-60s, and we'll be 60 to 62, so not quite there, but still quite nice.
This is just probably going to throw my coveralls in for tailgating on Saturday, just in case.
Just to keep them in the back.
Yeah. I got a pair of bibs. Everybody knows that tailgating has really hit winter weather when Bridgette starts going into the game wearing her coveralls.
Great.
Yeah, it's quite the show. You guys lower than row Z, section 20. I'll be there. See you guys as soon as I get there. Oh, man. Okay, and speaking of all of the things to see and do besides football this weekend, we will have Greg Hansen Agri-Commodities, joining us on Friday at 1:20. We're going to do a market recap. We're going to call that Market Uncovered with Greg Hansen. And this week ought to be fairly good to watch. I can't wait for him to talk not only about the grains, but the cattle trade as well. And if you have questions that you want me to pose to Greg, you can send them via our Superior Grain Equipment inbox. And you can certainly do that ag@flagfamily.com. You can reach Dean Weather at flagfamily.com. Those inboxes sponsored and powered by Superior Grain Equipment. Their grain storage, drying, and handling solutions, well, you can learn more about them at superiourbins.com. And today, you can send us your questions on the JLA Insurance phone line, 701-293-9000. You'll watch our live stream on Facebook, Acres TV, and YouTube. Again, a big thank you to the Kiwanis Club who let me join them today. I mean, nothing like a few tunes to sing over the lunch hour. Lunch was excellent. And then also a thank you to Grateful Gratefuls. I am thoroughly enjoying the recent gift that I received from them. When we return, we are going to be joined by Max Steffes. We are going to be on the auction block talking about land and so much more. What's going on in the auction world? What does he see and what does he think? Well, we'll do that in just a few minutes. And that brings us to On the Auction Block with Max Steffes. So, what's new this month? What's going on?
Man, we're kind of right in our harvest season. So right after farmers harvest their crop, we tend to get busy with auction sales. So most farms are sold after the crop has been harvested and before it's planted, and a lot of machinery is sold right now. So we're kind of right in the the brunt of auction activity for the fall.
A little bit of a sweet spot, you might say.
Yeah, it is right before it really gets cold around here. But everybody's done with their work, and we look forward to this time of year every year.
Have you had some really eye-opening or interesting highlights as of late?
Yeah, so we've really seen a post-harvest bump in land prices, Bridgette.
Okay.
And, we saw it last year around this time where right after harvest concluded, right after sugar beet harvest concluded, the land prices last year bumped probably 5 to 10%.
Okay.
In some areas, and we're seeing that again. So actually, just to recap some of the auctions, so we had 10 land auctions last week, 10 land auctions this week, and the results are kind of eye-popping. We're back to record prices in some areas. Just today, we had 80 acres near Lynchburg, North Dakota, in Cass County that sold for $11,025 an acre, which is about $11,450 a tillable. So that is right at about a county record price. For where things have been in the past. And then last Friday, we had 120 acres south of Hawley for close to $10,000 a tillable. Last Thursday, for those cattle guys out there, we sold pasture southwest of Mandan for $3,600 an acre.
Pasture,
yeah.
Wow.
You can't raise a crop.
So the economy obviously isn't affecting prices that much, huh?
It seems like the sentiment out there isn't matching the sentiment with farmers, not really ranchers, because those guys are in tall cotton right now, the cow-calf guys are, isn't matching the auction results on the auction block. There's just a lot of capital out there. There's a lot of wealth that's been generated in the last 10, 20 years, and people are eager to buy land right now.
That's good.
It is good.
Yeah.
It is good, especially if you're a family that's maybe held land for a number of years. And we talk about the big wealth transfer that's going on right now. There's 300 million acres that are supposed to trade hands in the next 10 years. And, if you're a part of that, it's a good time to be a seller.
So I don't want this to sound negative, but when you think about the change that we just heard about with sugar beet price on the 25 crop for 26,
Yeah.
do you anticipate seeing more land come up for auction or just a drop potentially in some buying because of that change of income for those folks?
The beet deal's been pretty good for the last few years, so that's a blip in the giddy up, I think, on a short-term basis. Overall, from what I'm hearing from producers throughout really our trade area, from down to Iowa to up here into North Dakota and into Saskatchewan, people had a big crop.
Yeah.
Good to excellent crop, especially on corn. Most everybody I've talked to regionally here have been disappointed in soybeans, but the corn really, above APH is what I've been hearing. So I think that's going to buoy things and keep the land market up. And you got to remember, farmers value land above all else.
Oh, yes.
They got some extra cash sitting around. They've already built the bins. They've got all the machinery they can need. So if that 80 comes up across the road or there's a quarter section, they're gonna take a jump at that.
Which leads to a really good discussion. I get this question a lot from listeners. Can you believe how much they paid for that piece of land?
It's always too much.
Right. Well, and it was too much 15 years ago when Dad bought it. And
Exactly.
it was too much 40 years ago when Grandpa bought it. So, there's some reasons why. And they don't always have to make sense. It might just because I want it.
Exactly. The really important part is, Bridgette, you got to be able to pay for it.
Yes.
And if you can do that,
Yes.
and hang on to it, usually history has proven that you're going to be okay, and it's going to be a smart move in retrospect. But it's painful in the process.
So when we talked before, we had some stats that we were talking about, and if you need these, I have these as well. But there were your valuation services, and you have some stats that go with it, as you said. Are you looking at an increase in people calling you for that particular service? Are you finding that that's a growth area of your business? And what kind of service is that for folks who are considering changing hands land?
Well, if you're a lender and you want to know where a borrower is at from an equity position and their equipment or their machinery, it's a great tool, and we provide that service and have been for a number of years. And if you're a farmer and you want to know where you're at, just from whether you're transitioning to your son or your nephew or niece maybe, it's a great tool. So I look to see things. We're really going to have to tighten our belt here this spring, farmers and production agriculture. And part of that whole process is understanding what your machinery, what your assets are worth. So I look to see that end of our business be fairly busy come come this January, February, March, and into renewal season.
I think farmers, bankers are going to be asking a lot more of those questions.
Yep.
What do you really got?
Yeah, what do you really got? What's your stuff worth? And honestly, those questions are hard to answer sometimes, especially with farm real estate. It's like it's kind of make up your own story. Last week we sold 40 acres in the Walhalla Pembina Gorge for $10,600 an acre for walking around hunting land.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
And I thought it was
sale.
worth $4. So it's really difficult to pin this farm real estate down. Machinery, those chattels are a little bit easier to analyze because that stuff's bought and sold 365 days of the year, and we can get pretty close, and we're pretty accurate.
Now, Max, I got an email that just came in asking, are these corporations that are buying up the real estate, or are these individuals?
Yeah, so actually this morning we had a person call in concerned. She didn't have the money to buy the land today, but she wanted to be sure that nobody from China was buying the land.
Oh, gee.
I kid you not.
I appreciate
Ashley
her
in the
sentiment.
office spent about 5 minutes on the phone with her. And I would say that's kind of a misnomer. I've been in the business for 13 years. We do a lot of land auctions all over heck, and I personally haven't sold land to anybody in China or Bill Gates for that matter.
Right.
By and large, the purchasers of farm real estate in our region are farmers and ranchers or investors that have some ties or affiliations to the local area that we're selling the land in.
I came from a Kiwanis meeting, just like literally as Dean said, I came sliding her in sideways here on the first commercial break. And one of the questions or a comment that was given to me is, gentleman sitting beside me is from the Devil's Lake area, and his mom, she's probably in her 90s, still owns some farmland.
Sure.
Dad died in 2019. At the time, that land was valued at $2,000, and land just sold in Ramsey County for about $5,000, close to her.
Yep.
So they're like, well, I guess we got to increase our P&L.
Yeah. Well, you start looking at some of the tax liability, like the family today. I think they inherited it from dad at $1,500 an acre, and they sold it for $11,000. So there's going to be a tax gain there. But paying tax isn't always a bad thing. You're generally making money, and there's some mechanisms and some levers that you can do to shield yourself from that, whether it's a 1031 exchange into other like-kind real estate or Delaware statutory trusts. There's all sorts of mechanisms that you can do to shelter that gain. But at the end of the day, if you're paying tax, I mean, you're making money. Not a bad thing.
Sometimes we got to pay tax.
Sometimes we got to pay tax. Farmers hate hearing that, though.
I know that.
They will go out and spend $1 million in farm machinery just so they don't have to pay tax.
I know. And some of them are like, I wouldn't do that. I know there's people that are listening that are in the same boat.
Yeah, and business owners, too. I mean, we do it in our auction company just to minimize your tax liability.
Mm-hmm. Steffes Group is considered really the foremost authority when it comes to people relying on you as a resource for the things that you do, particularly with land. If someone is currently in a position where they want to maybe sell some land even before the end of calendar year 2025, could it happen?
It could. We just sent out a contract as I'm sitting here today for some land up in Roseau County that's going to be coming up on the 17th of December. So there's still time. We always talk about 30 days to advertise and market is what we want, whether it's a piece of farm machinery or farm real estate.
Sure.
So there's still time to get something done before the end of the year, but the clock is ticking.
It would be. And for folks that are listening, they're curious, they want to know more, you write a newspaper, well, not a newspaper, but a local magazine column.
Yep.
If you want to touch on that, as well as where they can go find Steffes Group. Yeah.
So Dakota Farmer, we do a monthly column in the paper, and that's something that we do every month. I write on various topics. I think the topic this just came out tomorrow is what's the fun? Thank you, Bridgette. She's putting it in my face, so I remember what I called it. What's that farm by town really worth? So I talk about those transitional farms, in terms of what's a piece of land worth that's next to maybe a town like Cooperstown or Castleton. What's that additional appeal with it being located next to town?
And I think we're going to continue talking about what some of these changes are as we see data centers, large animal operations moving in, and what that does or doesn't do to land valuations
as
well.
For sure, yeah. Whether it's Applied Digital spending $3 billion up by Harwood, or the Riverview putting in a dairy or something of that nature, those are all benefits of owning land next to a town or next to a population center.
Well, Max will continue to join us in December. First of all, we'll have Brad Olstead join us.
Yep.
In 2 weeks, we're going to talk about equipment with Brad from Steffes Group, and then we'll be back to talk in December. And thank you for coming in studio. Greatly
Always
appreciate
enjoy it,
that.
you guys. It's fun.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Max.
it. Yep.
All right. When we come back from the news, we have a special last minute guest. We've got some folks here from Butler Equipment. They brought something.
That is sweet looking, isn't it?
Oh, we're going to talk about it. So make sure you check it out on the live stream, what Dean and I are looking at on the desk. We'll be right back. Well, if you're done with harvest, you probably used a lot of fuel. Time to talk to the folks over at Codeco Fuel and Propane. Especially if you're running the dryer, make sure to bring in a transport, get things restocked for the winter months. If you run cattle, you don't want to have to run out when you've got cattle to feed and need diesel fuel right there on the farm. And again, that's Codeco Fuels and Propane. And Dean and I argue constantly, is it too wet or too dry? Well, if it's too wet where you are, you might want to have that conversation with Ellings and Company because they can get some drainage going for you, get some tiling in.
We need the moisture.
It's too wet. Just saying. I have way too many pictures in my Snapchat stories about stuck combines, grain carts, and every other thing.
We're over 1.5 inches below normal.
Yeah. Okay. But you use 30 years for normal, and I tell you that's wrong. Actually, I was going to tell you a different word, but FCC says I can't. All right. So today started out with, kind of a quiet day. We'll have on the action block with Max Steffes. And then I got an email from Kaylee over at Butler Equipment. So you sent me an email because
I had a super cool gift for you. Found a Fendt Ideal die-cast replica to give to you based on our Ag Week show from last week.
She looks like a kid at Christmas, doesn't she?
She's so excited.
I'm so excited about this combine. So, yes, last week on the WDAY Radio Farm Show, I sort of gave a hard time to Haley Buckles, who's here on the other chair, that you got a toy for that combine yet? Because it looks like Batman's combine. We saw it at Big Iron.
Oh, yeah. And then, of course, I said, we'll bring one out. And I look at Kaylee, my marketing gal, and she's like, we're bringing one out? I said, absolutely. We'll find one. And we did. It worked out.
Did. Okay, so this is the 9T.
Yes, it is.
Tell me, in the real life combine, this one is a super awesome little model. It's sitting on the desk. Again, you can watch us on our live stream, and you can see it on Facebook, YouTube, Acres TV. Tell me about the real 9T combine.
So the real 19 combine is an over 500 bushel grain tank. It has 650 horsepower combine. And what makes this combine unique is, first off, is the only all black combine. Like you said, it's a Darth Vader, Batman combine see in the field, right?
It is.
Second of all, it is pilot controls. Meaning if you look inside this die cast, there's no steering wheel. And that's just like the new combine you see out there. No steering wheel, it's pilot controls, joystick, same as you'd run any new skid steer, new contact track loader. It is unbelievable to drive.
Okay. Last week we talked about the Outrun system, correct?
Yep.
Which is essentially your autonomous way of calling the grain carts to the combine.
Absolutely.
Which, by the way, you guys are going to laugh. I came from, I keep saying it, I just came from this Kiwanis meeting, and a special guest there was David Butler from Butler Equipment. So I got to visit with him today.
Mm-hmm.
And with that Outrun system, you can use it for combine to grain cart. Where else can that go?
So we can use that in a lot of tillage applications as well. We are prototyping it and using it in the evenings as, let's say, for example, we get done with harvest, everything's done, we have our drivers going away. We don't want to keep a guy out there all night long, doing tillage. That's some pretty monotonous work, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We'll drop this machine off in the middle of the night before you go get supper, turn it on. It'll do all your tillage in that field that evening.
Mm-hmm.
It'll come back and stop right where you started it.
If it encounters something.
An obstacle.
Yep. Yeah, it shuts itself down, and you have to go back out and get that machine moving again.
So from my understanding, you will not have to go back out.
Okay.
You'll be able to restart this machine remotely from your telephone or computer, iPad, whatever it would be. They're still working out some kinks on it, so it'll be getting better as time comes along.
Well, AI is, and again, we're talking artificial intelligence this time. Okay, but it is learning exponentially. What we do in farming every day.
Absolutely. I always tell guys, AI is never going to take over farming.
Right.
It's going to help with some of those avenues of farming, let's say like labor shortages. It's going to come in to help with cost of ownership. And, it's harder and harder to get help that it's a lot to pay for right away.
Okay. That labor is this, you'll like this. I saw a tweet this morning. Guy said, my combine driver is 12.
Yeah.
My grain cart driver is 10, And my bagger, the guy running the bagging, is 14. He said, combined total ages, I'm older than they are. So that's what labor looks like right now.
I have a great video to show you. So I have a client of mine that runs Fendt tractors, and they are so easy to drive. He's 5 years old. I know,
Wow.
5 years old, and he's driving the grain cart.
Is this by Sisseton?
It is not.
Okay, because I was going to say, I know that farm then.
I'm going to pull the video up, and I'm going to show you. You're going to be like, oh, my God, he's 5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because like you said, they are so easy to be able to use these machines. Oh, yeah. He's totally running the grain cart.
That's a 5-year-old individual.
Yeah, running that Fendt.
Yeah.
And as this progresses, you know, the 5-year-old could be outmanned and outgunned by his tractor.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things you mentioned last week when you were here was it's the gold service.
Gold Star. Yep.
Gold Star service. Okay.
Absolutely.
And I distinctly remember the gold Fendt at Commodity Classic this year.
Oh, yes.
It was sweet. I don't know if you guys have seen that thing yet. It's awesome. So it literally was a gold tractor. With that Gold Star service, does that apply to not only tractors, but the sprayer, the fertilizer spreader, the combine? What is
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell me the background on that.
So Gold Star covers all aspects of our Fendt product line. Now it's going to be in variation depending on what the product is. For example, planters will be different because there's a lot of wear items on that. Sprayers, there's also a lot of corrosive material that is going through our sprayers. But what that does is a full service contract. For example, on the combine is 5 years, 5,000 hours. And with that, you have a loaner guarantee. All service and maintenances are included, as well as trip charges. So going out to do it, you won't see any of that. It's in the cost of the combine. It's a guarantee for cost of ownership, cost per hour. It's a little peace of mind for our growers as you look at it, this large investment, and how can this budget out into our operation.
When I think about some of the things that you guys do as well, there is we didn't get enough time to talk about it last week, but when you have Fendt Momentum and Massey Ferguson planters, what are some of the upsides to that? Maybe you've got a planter, you probably have 10 or 12 years on it, you're thinking of upgrading. What are you telling farmers about that piece of equipment right now?
So the first thing I look at our Fendt Momentum planter, it is a planter with our VTC bar on it, so it's a contouring bar. Obviously around this area, we don't have a whole lot of hills. We don't have a whole lot of valleys, but we get out west and we go into other areas where we have a lot of valleys and ridges. We don't have as lot of flat ground. It'll contour the land beautifully. It's also the full precision, so it'll come standard with full precision on that. So we're talking speed tubes, V-set, V-drive, wave vision, fertilizers. Sure. We're seeing more and more technology.
Oh, the planter is amazing. That's got some of the greatest technology of any piece of equipment on the farm.
Absolutely, without question.
I mean, you want picket fence row planted corn. This is how you're going to do it.
This is it.
Yeah.
And the way that it's designed for how it folds up in transport, I've actually had experience on transporting a 48 row, 15-inch planter at 25 miles an hour behind me. It doesn't bounce, doesn't hop. When we talk about farming in a large area from point A to point B, you can cut your time in half by just transport.
Oh, yes, you can. And when you have a piece of equipment that plays nice.
Yes, plays nice.
When you're towing that thing, that makes a humongous difference.
Absolutely.
You know, also with all of these things that we're talking about, whether it's with the Fendt Momentum or the Massey Ferguson VF planters, when we're talking about the 9T Batman's Combine, the Ideal, your service and support. I see Butler trucks in the field.
Yes.
And you guys are right there taking care of things.
Yes.
That is what really brings that Gold Star warranty with you and your level of service to your customers.
Absolutely. I tell a lot of my clients and individuals in the area, there's a lot of options for equipment out there, and they're all good options, right?
Sure.
It's who's going to stand behind that product is what makes it the best. And I feel Butler has been a great resource for many of our growers in this area. We have many different shifts for technicians working on, so we always have somebody on hand. We have late night hours for parts.
Yeah.
We have service advisors that have been trained and go through a process very, very well. It's great to have a team that is so supportive and also stands by the product and stands by the name as well as they do.
I got to tell you, just a little side note, having met David Butler over lunch today, he mentioned, and I want to say it was in the 60s, he was stationed in Germany, and he was in a tank battalion.
Oh,
and
wow.
he said, so he went from working on farm equipment to heavy equipment and back. So there's a long line of family
Oh, yes.
involved with Butler
Yep.
and the commitment to service that you have in this region.
Absolutely.
It's tremendous. You guys, thank you for my combine. This thing is awesome.
we knew you would love it, and we're just so happy that we were able to find one and bring it out here so quickly.
Yeah, you guys, when we were talking by email this morning, I'm like, why don't you just come over today?
Right.
Let's do this.
Now, do you have room for that at home?
Oh, it might stay here for a little while.
Oh.
Don't touch my combine. I'm going to have to pop open the extensions on top, put a little bit of corn in there. And
Yes, you should. The head comes off so you can have it. It's a fully functional die cast.
Kaylee said there's a tiny wrench in the box.
There's a tiny wrench.
Well,
can
there you
open
go.
The door. You can get in the cab.
Look at that.
Now I just need a little creeper.
Yes, you do. You need a matching tractor or grain cart maybe one of these years.
I have a Wysocki disc and a four-wheel drive tractor. It's a slightly different color, a little different green.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You can spray paint it.
My
we
carpet
go.
farming fleet is increasing.
My carpet farming. I love it.
Thank you very much. Thank you to Butler Equipment. Really appreciate you guys being a part of the WDAY Radio Farm Show last week and for coming in today.
Absolutely.
This
Thank
is
you.
fabulous.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, fantastic. We will be back soon, Dean.
Yep, we'll do a recap of the weather, and I'm sure Bridgette has a couple of ag topics to go over as well. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Weather Nag in Focus. It's 1:54. Temperatures outside very mild. 52 degrees here at the studio. A beautiful, beautiful day out there. It is windy. We've got winds gusting out of the west over 30. And we're going to stay mild all week with temperatures well above normal all week long. A near record warmth on Friday as temperatures poke into the lower 60s on Friday. But it looks like this will be. We were kind of hinting over the last week or so that after mid-month things were going to change. And now we're starting to see a lot of agreement with our models that this trend of above normal temperatures is going to come to an end as we head into next week and through the end of the month. The question is, how stormy do we turn as we transition? So we'll kind of wait and see exactly how that unfolds. But over the next couple of weeks, we'll also see our LRC cycle more than likely set. It's going to be a little longer, it looks like, than last year. Last year was right around 41 days. I do believe we'll have a little longer cycle length this year. So keep that in mind. And remember, the start of the cycle in October was very wet. Not so much for the valley and east in the lakes country, but it was for the central and western parts of the state during that 7th through about the 16th of the month, 17th of the month. It was very wet across the state. We had about a 10-day stretch of very stormy weather. So when that cycles back, it looks like probably Thanksgiving into early December. Should be interesting to see if the exact same areas will get hit or if it's a little outside of those target areas from before. So once again, we're keeping a very close eye on that, and just kind of be aware next week it's going to kind of be a back to reality check and opposed to this very, very nice weather that we've got over the area for this week. I still don't see any big snows in the forecast, but what we're seeing is a lot of storminess in California and finally the Rockies, and that's what we're looking for. That's usually that's the kind of pattern that usually sets up that brings us some of our bigger storms, and we're starting to see that start to take shape later next week through the end of the month. So we'll see, and those storms might go south of us. We'll wait and see, but there's definitely going to be more stormy activity throughout the Rockies and the plains as well.
Oh, I think there's much to come, right? It's going to be a busy winter. Someone's going to tell me it's El Nino, whatever. You know what? Every day I'm going to look at the forecast and be like, wow, I should wear a sweater.
That's all you got to do. And you're going to need to up here, yeah.
And the easiest way to predict storms is I will overlay that with my travel calendar this winter, and you'll know exactly where and when it's going to be stormy.
When you have to travel. That's usually when it happens. Well, and brush up on your snow trivia, because tomorrow we'll have our weather trivia.
Wednesday.
And we'll be talking snow trivia for tomorrow. And so brush up on that. That'll be part of the weather trivia, where we'll be giving away one of our Darter plastic rain gauges for tomorrow. So again, brush up on your snow trivia.
So many things have changed. Like today, it was just by coincidence we were able to get Butler equipment coming in. Tomorrow, I have a farmer from Sturham, North Dakota. David Totenhagen is going to talk with us. Remember our discussion last week about grain bin safety with Angie Johnson at NDSU? Mm-hmm. He messaged me and he said, I use your grain weevil. He even sent a video of it in his bin. So yeah, Addison is thrilled. He's like, tiny robot videos. Yay! So we are going to talk to David about his use of that on the farm. So I'm pretty excited.
How big is that grain weevil? I'm looking at the video right now.
It really is. I've seen them in person, like when I was down at FarmCon in Kansas City in January. It's really about the size of a Roomba, and it's got four little auger spinners for feet. It's awesome.
Sweet. Yep. Sweet.
That's tomorrow.
That'll be tomorrow's guest, and we want to thank everybody for joining us today on Weather and Ag in Focus. Don't go anywhere. The Jay Thomas Show is coming up next.